Even carry my phone with me anyways, but totally lost track of time, so my apologies. Let's see here. What are we talking about? Basketball. Uh, all right. So two road games this week. Thursday at Memphis, and then playing Tulsa. I know four of our next five are on the road, and then included in that five is a really good North Texas team here at home. So there's a number of things that we need to get better at. I thought the past week, I shared this with the team. I thought the previous week were character issues. I just didn't think we came with the right approach against USF and then UTSA. But I thought this past week were basketball issues and areas that we tighten up and get better, and areas that we need to continue to get strong at that we're doing a pretty good job at.
Is it disappointing at all to have those kind of issues this late in the season? In such key moments against some conference opponents.
I don't know that I would use the word disappointing. I mean, East Carolina, I knew it was going to be a really close game. And, you're really encouraged by it being plus 16 on the glass, being able to retrieve 48% of your misses. They were retrieving 40%, ECU 40% of their misses, and were held to 27%. So they were 0-6 if they didn't get 33%. And so to hold those guys to 27% was good. I think that's probably the best all year. And then we did good from the turnover side. And it was just, we needed to be able to make more free throws. You got to be able to shoot better than 50% from the free throw line in order to win close games. And then there were some fundamental mishaps. We don't need to goaltend a play that ends up being an and one opportunity. There's just some simple things that winning is in the details and that we need to be mindful of.
If I remember correctly, last year around this time, you guys go on the road to face Memphis, kind of a similar situation where you struggle going into it, and then you play really well, come down to the final, minute or two, and then fall on the road there. Is that kind of an inspiration story you can show these guys? Hey, last year we played a similar team in terms of talent, and we played really well. Is that something you can build off of last year?
Yes and no, because the final result is we didn't win, and we were able to course correct and do some things in the conference tournament in order to come out on the right side of that after not being in the game that was here. So I mean, I don't know what coach doesn't feel good about going into a game, and you feel really good about going into this game, and you got to continue to tighten up and get better, and we're excited about it on Thursday.
What is it about Memphis that excites you?
Well, one, you always enjoy playing really good teams. I always think that when you get the opportunity to go on the road to play really good teams, I think a lot of people get excited by that. I would tell you that they have really good guards and they have really good bigs. Dane Danger, Musa Cisse are elite. Dane can really score. Musa can really protect. Both of them can really protect. And then they have really good guards. I mean, multiple guards in Tyrese Hunter and PJ Haggerty who shoot better than 40%. And everybody's familiar who's a Wichita State fan with Colby Rogers and just how well he shoots it. And so I think they present a number of challenges that you just believe that you're going to be up for.
Has there been an emphasis on defending the three-point line after the last couple of outings, and obviously going up against the Memphis team that can
Yeah,
defend?
yes, and it's more so how we defend pick and roll than anything else, and that's kind of what's leading. We've actually had to change how we've defended pick and roll. We had to do it after the USF game, and that the signs there are encouraging. I mean, I go back to a team the other night in ECU. They shot 26% as a team coming into the game. I think that was out of the 365 schools, they were 361. They were 4 for 14 at half, and so we were solid there in the first half, but they go 7 of 9 late. You have to figure out how much of that, if you look at it, 4 of them are just pick and roll coverages. And you tip your hat to RJ on the game winner, but there was one earlier where it was just a fundamental issue. Our hand is below the basketball. your hand always has to be above the basketball in a closeout. So I think all of those are fixable. But again, you tip your hat to those guys that, you know what? I mean, a 26% 3-point shooting team comes in here and shoots 7 of 9 in the second half, and it's they made it a game.
What did you see from Quincy on the offensive end that you really liked? He seems to have come alive offensively maybe these last couple of weeks. What have you seen from him that you liked?
Yeah, he's averaging a double double in conference, and so I would tell you that his offensive rebounding has led to some of his scoring ability. I think his spacing. If you look at it, you look at the opening play of the game that he scored. That was an offensive rebound issue. Where Corey's able to get a high post shot, and then he's able to take advantage as their center leaves. They were obviously playing zone, and he's able to crack up in order to take advantage of their wing. That's an IQ. I thought the last play, the dunk that ties it at 72. That's an IQ issue. Showed him clips of a year before when we played at ECU and where he hovers and just doesn't allow the guards to penetrate there in the middle of the paint. If you watch him there at the end of that game, he gets what I believe is the most underutilized space in basketball, the front of the rim to the baseline, which is 4 feet. Guys don't really utilize that space well, especially at the college level. They do it at the NBA. But if you watch how much he lowers as their big helps up in order to get the assist from Justin in order to make that dunk, it's more he understands spacing and he processes it a lot quicker. I told him he's upgraded his Wi-Fi. That like your Wi-Fi is a lot quicker because I've seen guys whose Wi-Fi doesn't always work. It's pretty spotty, and his Wi-Fi he's upgraded. So whatever the highest Wi-Fi is, he's upgraded, but he's understanding where he needs to be. And again, I consider baseball players and basketball players geniuses simply because you got to make a decision within a tenth, 2/10 of a second. Like you got to be able to process this real quick, and he's been able to process this. So I attribute a lot of it just to his IQ.
Yeah, some matchup specifics. PJ Haggerty from Memphis and Justin Hill, Harlan Beverly. What about those kind of matchups and sets? Really, really exciting.
Yeah, PJ gets fouled a lot, and we saw this a year ago at Tulsa, and he's got the ability to really get to the rim, but more importantly, he can draw contact. I think he leads them in not only scoring, but he leads them in assist. I think he leads them in 3-point field goal percentage. Obviously, everybody's aware of his free throw. Not only his ability to get there, but his ability to convert. So he does a number of things really, really well on the offensive end. And then he's good defensively and underrated as a defensive player. I know there's some other guys that kind of get more publicity from that, but he is underrated as a defensive player. So, I can't tell you how many players that are around only want to play half the game. I only enjoy 50% of it. I think he actually enjoys both ends and wants to make sure that he can contribute offensively and defensively. And to be honest with you, it's really rare.
Justin mentioned after the ECU game about the importance of getting teams uncomfortable early. I guess the same can be said, playing a team like Memphis here in a couple days. How do you see that starting? What kind of openings do you see already at this point in time of something you guys can capitalize on in order to achieve that?
Well, I don't want to give too much, given the fact that I don't know, maybe somebody from Memphis may watch this and then turn around and tell whoever. But again, what you have to do is you have to be able to handle their pressure. They're going to throw 3 different types of full court pressure at you, and you've got to be able to handle a lot of that pressure in regards to full court pressure. And then they're gonna play a multiple of defenses. You'll see zone, you'll see man, you'll see different coverages. They've got a blitz package, they've got a drop package, they've got a switch package. So they've got a variety of things in how they defend pick and roll. And I just think your spacing has to be on point, your formations have to be on point, and then your timing, your cutting. And again, we're number one in the country at getting points per possession out of cutting. So it's something that we do well. And the timing of it, though, is probably key to a lot of that. But we need to be able to be in the right space and get a quality shot each possession.
What have you seen out of some of the young guys that maybe haven't seen as much playing time? What have you seen out of them in practice, like TJ, who hasn't really played at all, and then obviously Zion, who's gotten some minutes here and there. What have you seen out of them in practice that you really like?
Yeah, they're great because TJ is getting better. He's 2 weeks in. He's a great guy. He constantly volunteers to be on the scout team, to be whoever it is that we're going against, and so you can see him getting real reps against real competition. But the thing that's impressive about TJ is his motor. He's asking questions. There's a lot of freshmen when they come in, they just want to move around and they don't really understand why they're moving or where they're moving. They just move just for the sake of moving, and a lot of times it just botches up the spacing because they can't really floor map what's going on. I go back to the intelligence of a basketball player. You may understand the timing of it, but if you don't understand court geography and floor mapping, it's hard because you may be running in the same direction as somebody else. And so trying to get that all synchronized, he asks questions in order to get that synchronized. And anytime you have somebody who's inquisitive, you realize that their care factor is high. People who just sit there and they just go about without asking questions, either something isn't processing, and they don't even have questions to ask because they don't really even know what's going on, or sometimes it's just moving too fast for him. He asks questions, so I know both of those situations are not the case. Zion is competitive. I mean, you can imagine just you have to have 10 guys in order to play 5-on-5, and Zion's a big part of what we do. He'll be given the keys to this car eventually one day, and it is a situation where we can't give you the keys though unless you're out here competing every opportunity. He competes at every opportunity, and he's earning trust, doing all of the things. He's just got some older, more experienced guys in front of him right now.
Off the subject, how are you guys dealing with the cold? I know you're from Houston, guys.
Yeah,
I
oh
don't know
my
where everybody's
goodness.
from, but are
Yeah, Houston got 5 inches of snow. It was when I woke up this morning. Yesterday, I woke up. It was 2:03 when I got up, and I usually get up somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m. anyway. I usually fall asleep around 10, and then usually get up around that time. But when I woke up this morning, it was -7. That's crazy. And I hadn't experienced that. I asked my mom how everything was in Houston, and she sent snow. I can't tell you, just again, being from Houston, if I see snow fall, the inside of me is just like you would think that I was a felon with the thoughts that are going through my head. I am mad at the world the second I see a snowflake. So we practiced twice yesterday at noon. The snow was coming down. When we came back at 5, fortunately it stopped, so my anger had died down. But I don't do well with the snow.
being, kind of being new to the Midwest? I know you're, in Oklahoma last year, but how often have you heard the term, "It isn't that bad without the wind"? How often have you heard that term?
I haven't. You're the first person. I mean, come on, man. Like when you start walking on ice, like I can't tell you how many times my heel has slipped out from under me, and I like, man, that could have got ugly quick, right? It's a matter of time before I fall on my back. I've had to buy boots. Never had to buy boots before. I now walk into the office with boots and then tennis shoes. I've never had to buy gloves before. I've never had to buy something to cover your ears. I've never had to own any of that stuff. It's usually just, a jacket. I've had to buy an additional jacket in order to get layers. So for me, this is all new. Fortunately, we play in a gym where it's heated. I couldn't do what football coaches do. I don't know how they process that, but I kind of sat there a little mesmerized the other night at the Baltimore Buffalo game. As I watched some of that, and I'm like, how do they handle that? But I haven't bought anything like no hand warmers or anything additional, but I had to have layers of clothing that I never even owned.
Sounds like the Midwest winter starter pack right there.
Yeah, that's probably if the REI people probably think I'm nuts. They're like, why is this guy coming in here every single day? But I've been in the REI quite a bit in the past 2 weeks.
I didn't know if there's any Wichita. I don't know where they're all from, but like Wichita's not supposed to be this cold.
Yeah, Zion Pipkin is from Houston, and when it snowed a couple of weeks ago, the 2 days prior, before we played USF, he had never seen snow before. We had a couple of guys on our team who had never even seen snow before, so it is It's rare. But now it's snowing 5 inches in Houston, so
Yeah, that's crazy.
Anything else?
thanks, guys.